We are awakening together. This is our weekly gathering we hold online. For more information, visit our website, awakening-together.org. We'd love to see you there.
It's all yours, Reverend Cyndi.
Thank you. How fun. Love us so much. And we begin with We Are Awakening and an opportunity to greet each other in the chats. Back to you, Marisol. My heart just skipped a beat. It's like I went to gallery view and I saw my friend Beth, who we just met a little while ago, show up and that big bright smile and like something just melted. So there you have it. Our purpose and values. Our purpose. There is consistent wisdom in the universe. It shows up in all religions and philosophy, in all cultures, and throughout time. This wisdom is not unique or new. It is owned by no one and by no organization. No one has to go to a special place or a special teacher to find it. It is the most abundant wisdom in the universe. Once one opens his or her heart to this wisdom, it appears everywhere by the hand of universal grace. I don't know how many times you've heard our purpose, but it's crazy when something drops and you hear it as if for the first time. And my eyes are leaking. Each week, the gathering calls for one of our core values. The one that is on my heart to read today is core value number 3. We accept one true self, which is one presence or being, non-dual, without beginning or end, and absolutely changeless. We live this value by practicing letting go of the belief in the individual self as who we are. And again, this sinking in, words are all just symbols. And letting go of listening to the words and sinking in to the energy and the love. Even before I go to announcements, because this is what's coming up. Like there is a memory of hearing the story of Regina, right? Ending one part of her life being knowing without knowing what's next, to step away from what she thought was her path. And then in trust, just going about her business and having these words just drop, like writing them on a napkin. And then it was her yes to all of that. That brings us here into this moment. These words did not come from the thinking mind, right? They came through a sense of a separate self. And right now they're touching me in a way they haven't touched before. So let's see. You know, I was going to say, well, let's go to announcements and give me a chance to reset, except I get to read the first 2 announcements. So here we go. Thank you, Rhoda. While I was listening to you, I remembered that at one point in time, if we believe in linear time, you were leading the gathering today, and not I. I think I remember why we switched. We never do anything for the reason we think, do we? Something else is in charge. Something else, something outside of what we think we know, because the universe knows best. Something is holding us and loving us and taking care of us. even when it doesn't feel like it. Everything about what's going to happen in this hour um, is being surrendered. My invocation comes after this song. I could let you know that I was taking a walk one morning last week, and this song started playing in my head, along with the knowing it was the first song of our gathering. And the thinking mind afterwards, and has been for the last couple of days, wanted to tell me why. But in all honesty, even though it made sense, has a lot of good logical reasons for why we do what we do. I want to tell you, I love the song. I've loved the song for decades. The truth of the matter is, I was taking a walk. Cyndi was taking a walk one day last week, and this song started playing in her head, along with the instruction that it was the song that we were going to lead today's gathering with. How about a little America, Marisol? So, in the book entitled Practicing the Presence, Joel Goldsmith, Joel writes that there is only one useful prayer. It goes something like this. I pray for the joy of experiencing only God. Sink into that, and then you see what God does. Sink into that, and then you see what God does. That is, there's an invitation for us all to relax into just that, into this space of recognizing that all is well, that there is this divine, benevolent intelligence that is holding us, that is guiding us, that is, in many ways, dissolving our sense of an us into the one love, the one joy, the one peace. And so, by way of invocation, that is, well, that's what's happening. And I want to apologize right off the bat. I've been looking at words, and so many of our teachings and teachers remind us that words are really just symbols, right? And yet there's something in here that seems to think that the right word makes a difference. It doesn't. There is an energetic container that we've all said yes to the moment we're here, right? So at some point we said yes, and it is working on us, and it is dissolving us. And at this point, I don't even believe we have much control over any of what's happening, though we can surrender into it, and the ride can become a little less bumpy. That brings me to our inspirational reading. It's so interesting. A number of us in this room, more than two, have just finished 6 weeks with the teachings of Ramana Maharshi. And I cried a lot in the last 6 weeks. I was quote unquote facilitating the experience. The MPP classes are unlike anything. And if you think you know why you're taking them, you can ask some of the people here who are in the midst of them. They don't know why they're taking them. We're just being called, right? But I was called. It was my blessing to be a facilitator and to continue to be a facilitator for these MPP classes, and was holding space for 5 of us, plus me is 6. And over and over and over again, all of us sunk into this idea that the teaching is simple. Like, it came up in Sunizagarada Maharaj, right? Simply do this. But over and over and over again over the last 6 weeks, we were reminded to just rest in our being, rest as ourself, recognize that there's no problem here other than what the thinking mind is telling us. And no matter what the world is saying, all is well. Yeah. And it's actually where the title for today came from, right? If I were to believe my mind, it's really simple. So you would think, right, that guidance would say, all right, let's do a reading from that. But no, sort of like America, and the way the song dropped. There was a moment in time where I knew who the reader was, and thank you for saying yes, Fran. And then I picked up a book that I've owned for I don't know how long and opened it and found our reading, or was given our reading. So, Fran Hamilton, thank you very, very much for reading some words from Mooji. Yeah, it's all yours.
This chapter is called The True Master Has No Teaching, and it's a dialogue between a questioner and Mooji in satsang. The questioner says, Mooji, what happens when two masters meet? What would you talk about if you met another master? Mooji replies, they may say, how guru do? And there's a big laughter. Whatever will happen, will happen. As for being a master, when I look within, I don't find any master here. We entertain all kinds of fanciful notions that some cosmic shift should happen, like bringing two big magnets together. And this is nonsense. There are no two masters meeting. What is the difference between the space in this room and the space in the kitchen? None at all. So, whatever will happen would not register to them as an event, because in truth, nothing is happening. Nothing happens. But surely there must be some recognition between them. Recognition between whom? Between the two of them, of course. Perhaps an interest in each other's way of expressing this. For their truth is one, but the teachings are many. Within all cultures, there is a spectrum of modes of conveying the unveiling of the obvious, so to speak, but also a unique philosophica perennis that each initiates words in a peculiar way. They should enjoy this diversity. Mooji replies, you don't know what you are saying or how things are. If they are masters, as you say, they would not hold any such concept of themselves as masters. That principle, which you refer to as master, wears no concept of itself. Free from all I belief, it exists as awareness only. The true master has no teaching. He or she merely points the way. No teaching, no student, no master. He smiles. This is the truth taught by all masters to their disciples, isn't it? Then what are we doing here? What is the purpose of satsang? To find out, discovering, and confirming this for yourself. But aren't these just the usual Zen-like phrases that many Advaita teachers use? No teacher, no teaching, no student. It doesn't ring true for me. It seems clear to me that you are the teacher and I am here benefiting from your teaching and your presence. What is the value or point in saying this isn't so? I enjoy coming here and being with you. Your words and presence have clearly helped me. Surely you love teaching, or let's say, sharing what you've found. Wouldn't you say teaching is your role in life? Your presence seems stronger than ours. You speak with more authority and clarity than anyone I know. I love and respect you. Do you not feel the same for us? How do you perceive us, the ones who come to you? Do not place me on a pedestal and do not box me in. I am not what you perceive me to be. There is nothing objective I can say about myself that can remain true. I've looked and found no objective location for what I am. I know I am aware and perception is happening within myself spontaneously. But there isn't a someone there doing or achieving something. There is no difference between you and me. except that I know that I am not a person and you feel that you are. I try my best to challenge, confront, stimulate, inspire, and encourage you in order that you may see and confirm it for yourself. I cannot help doing this. It just happens. Teacher and student are roles and forms appearing in the consciousness we are, as it is expressing itself. Why and how consciousness does it, I do not know, and I don't need to know. Somehow it seems to me that consciousness creates this play in order to have the experience of awakening to itself as the pure, immutable reality. That is its joy. Self assumes all these masks. Self forgets itself, and in that it seems to discover itself again. Yet it remains pure self all along. This is my view, my finding. When it dreams itself to be the individual I, the me, it manifests as a separate entity, restless and often arrogant, unaware of its true nature. Under the spell of Maya, it is prone to feelings of fear and resistance, doubt and anxiety. As me, it suffers. It cannot avoid suffering and struggling because we all have this intuition that our individual existence is bound to end. This I call the trauma of existence. Still, the self is slow in giving up its arrogance, its identity as I, me. Why? Even here in satsang, people are often prideful and arrogant. Somehow, when the beingness gets stressed, enough and tired of it all, and when it chooses to wake up, the mind force backs off, as it were, while the pull towards truth and satsang increases. In all of this, there is no doer, no one doing or undoing anything. All happens by itself. This is what one observes, and a great unburdening takes place. Real peace and joy prevail as a result of this recognition. You ask, do you love to teach? I have no agenda to teach, and I do not feel I am actively teaching anyone or anything. I am just doing my thing, dancing my dance. It is all completely spontaneous. I am enjoying myself in all its expression, rough or smooth. While the body is here, the dancing goes on. Somehow, everything is fine and harmonious around me, for I know that nothing can go wrong except in some superficial and temporary way. I enjoy the satsang salsa, but I am not attached to it. Though it may appear so, I am not attached to anyone or anything. If I had to walk away and leave all of my present life behind, it would be totally fine. When and if it falls away, I remain as emptiness. Even now, this is so. I am emptiness walking in the guise of a human being called Mooji. Presence, stillness, clarity, and authority prevail when mind is transcended, seen through and understood as the play of waves on the ocean's face. One realizes and identifies as self only. This is the divine attraction, the divine romance. Like all butterflies are drawn, or like the butterflies are drawn toward the buddleia flower, all the beings who are ready to wake up come to bathe in the ocean of peace and compassion. They come to satsang. Their minds reintegrate with source. Thus, the yoga of knowledge and understanding is consummated. This is the play, the satsang play. Now you ask as well, how do you see us? As forms of the oneness and expression. This is not some mystical, effortful, heady, or sentimental sense, but the natural and simple way that is felt and confirmed when the mind is not This is not some mystical, effortful, heady, or sentimental sense, but the natural and simple way that is felt and confirmed when the mind is not interfering anymore, not projecting or taking account. Compassion replaces fear. I stopped fearing you and began loving you as forms of my very self because the understanding came. Self has nothing but love for self. That's from Before I Am, the direct recognition of truth, the chapter entitled, The True Master Has No Teaching.
All the hair on my arms are standing up. Thank you, Fran. Again, there's a desire to state that that book has been sitting in this apartment for I don't know how long, waiting. I don't know why it was purchased from a physical standpoint, but at some point in the last couple of weeks, this body picked it up without any thought, opened to a page, was not surprised when the reader that was assigned in the same way already owned the book and agreed to read that section. It's all just happening. And so here are all these beautiful things just happening, right? There's this flow. And when I look back over my entire life, I recognize that that flow is always there. Like there's no logical explanation that brings us all into this room right now. If you were to listen to the thinking mind, what we were born into, what our expectations were, even, a month ago when Rhoda and I switched days, we didn't know why. It's all orchestrated, right? And it's orchestrated by that emptiness, by that self-loving self. And we're here in the satsang salsa, right? So that's the truth. So that's the one power, the Brahman, the God, and now held within that, there's this energetic disturbance here that even upwards of right now, I'm watching it on saying, what are you going to say next, Cyndi? Where are you going to be? And yesterday I was laughing because Jacqueline's in my space and Jacqueline's like, effortless efforting last week. What a brilliant homily last week, right? So if you didn't hear it, you could go back and watch it. But Jacqueline was pointing to the fact that it's all just happening and all this effort comes from the person or the personhood. But the personhood is what? It can be arrogant. That's what Mooji said. And it keeps thinking it has to figure things out. But you know what I've discovered as I slow down and just sort of marinate in what we do here is that thinking person is never, it never has a clue. It makes up stories all the time, but it doesn't know. So yesterday I literally sat down, I turned everything off. I was by myself. I had a couple hours. I sat down with pen and paper and said, okay, let's plan. Let's plan what this homily is going to be like. I have all the parts. And the thinking mind attempted it, but it was so friggin' uncomfortable that instead I just went looking for the part of the Cyndi who wasn't in that moment trusting this divine benevolent intelligence that's been guiding the show, running the show, right? So I sat with that instead. And for those that hang with me when I'm in process, and if it happens now, you may notice when this system right now hangs out in the borderlands, when I allow the blocks to love's presence to sit with the highest vibration that's holding me, this body's been known to pulse and spasm and shake. So it's just the blocks dissolving. So anyway, yesterday I gave up. It was so funny. Literally, it was attempting to figure things out. This morning I went into my dyad space and did what I always do. And on Wednesdays, you know, I teach from that day's contemplation. I didn't have an intention to share based on today's contemplation. But all of a sudden, you know, 3/4 of the way through it, I recognized that a script was being written to share with you, which is really extraordinary. So I'm going to read it and we'll see what happens. The quotes are from the Vasista's Yoga. So again, truth is true. And a big part of what's going on as the person is dissolving is here. The desire to call one teacher out as better or worse than another is also dissolving. I don't know what we are, but we're not separate from source. And therefore, the love and light and beauty of these teachings flow through all of us. Sort of again, like what Mooji said, you and I are the same. The only difference is I no longer believe that I'm different. That's really it. Well, person is made of whatever is firmly established at the truth of his being in his own mind, that he is not else, unquote. So, person, one of my favorite quotes that is in my head X number of times a day comes again from our buddy Sir Nisargadatta Maharaj. MPP class starting this week. Register now. But this quote goes, as long as I believe myself to be a person, I will see people everywhere. In truth, there's no such thing. What I take to be a person is merely a thread of memories and habits. In the moment of realization, person ceases. Identity remains. Identity is not a person. It's inherent reality itself. In other words, this quote ain't talking about me, and it's not talking about you. A person is a thread of memories and habits. Still feels real, but it's weakening, right? So here's what I wrote leading into the diet. Hello. Hi. And in case you don't know, that's I'm a Course in Miracles student. That's the way built, right? Never mind. The question that arises is, what does the person named Cyndi have to do with me? The person, Cyndi, has a timeline, a story with a myopic, and it was cool because I had to look up that word to make sure it meant what I thought it meant. So it's always cool when words get used here that I never use. A story with a myopic point of viewing and has a very limited shelf life. Like, why do I want to be a Cyndi who may live, I don't know, 70, 80, 90 years when all the teachings tell me I'm God and I'm eternal? Like, what is it here that clings to that? Now, this will tell you how impersonal my life is getting. She, i.e. Cyndi, is cute, gorgeous even, open-minded, funny, flexible, and willing only for God. You know, if I believed that what I was Cyndi, it would have been very difficult. But I looked at it, and yeah, just like you, we are gorgeous beings of light. And more, it is becoming easier to see and feel and taste her edges. But there are no edges in Brahman. And therefore, it is not logical to identify as a person, a mind body that is named Cyndi. Cyndi separate. So what I bring to today's dyadic experience is all this clinging to identifying as a me who is not any of what she sees. Right. And after the triad, it was a triad, not a dyad. This is what arose. thank you for the triad. And the clear seeing that the Cyndi separate filtering system is on and active and weakening. And I gotta say, I'm now calling it it became a filtering system yesterday. Before that, it was a wall. But at some point, and I've been working on this I separate thought for a little while in the diet and the contemplations. There are a few people here that have heard other contemplations, but I recognize that a wall seems to indicate a barrier that you can't see through. But we're all seeing through it. We're all seeing through it. It's not a wall. It's a filtering system. That's one way, or a projector, but it literally is a creation of all these beliefs and ideas and notions, and the sense of a world out there is just what's being seen through the filtering system of separation, not a wall. The clear seeing that the Cyndi separate filtering system is on and active, and it's been really useful for me to acknowledge that it's weakening, as opposed to, oh my God, it's a problem to be fixed. No, it is dissolving. Our buddy Ramana Maharshi says, be like a salt doll in the sea of consciousness. We're dissolving the sense of separation. If you are here, whether you admit it or not, this sense of me being something other than you is dissolving. It's working. And that all quote unquote worldly activity is no thing. It's no thing. It's all an opportunity to inquire, question, to allow the one power to touch all sense of me separate. And to rest and allow for the purification and merging back into the Tao, into God, into Brahman. And man, I love being a member of Awakening Together. So this idea of purification and merging, it's part of the process. I think I first learned about it in Gentle Healing Year 2. You know, what are the steps to awakening? There's the original call, right? There's this initial call, this knowing that this, whatever I am, it ain't right. And this suffering's got to end, right? And then there's this seeking and searching, where every day it seems to be a new practice or a new teacher. If I take that course, you know, there's all this seeking and searching. That's sort of step 2. And then we move into an acceptance that we ain't what we think we are, and we enter this purification stage. And the stages, by the way, aren't I do 1 and then 2 and then 3. They're just prevalent, you know, they're the biggest part of these stages, but all of them sort of happen because linearity is not part of truth anyway. And then while purification is still happening, we merge into service, and we merge back into the oneness. It's all just, and it becomes, by the way, easier as the sense of a separate self weakens. There can be really acute moments, but they don't last as long. And then all of a sudden you hear Awakening Together's purpose on a deeper level, and you start falling like a baby inside anyway. You understand its truth. To rest and allow for the purification and merging back into the Tao, into God, into Brahman. And there is a curiosity, and I wrote it here. There's something here that seems to care what it's called. And hold that lightly, right? I've been part of conversations that talk about the Tao as if it's something other than isness, other than the silence, other than Brahman, other than supreme consciousness. The thinking mind keeps using these words as if they're pointing to something different, but how insanely crazy is that? It's just mind food. Here's another quote from the Vasistas Yoga. early on in the scripture. Neither freedom from sorrow nor realization of one's real nature is possible as long as the conviction does not arise in one that the world of appearance is unreal. I'm going to read that again because it's so key, right? How much time in any given day do you, as a separate person, how much time do you invest in trying to make your life as a person better? And with that in mind, let's read this again. Neither freedom from sorrow nor realization of one's real nature is possible as long as the conviction does not arise in one that the world appearance is unreal. The person whose life you are trying to make better is a thread of memories and habits. It's just a word or a series of words that have been strung together to create a story that rises and falls within you, but it can never possibly be you. You are what I am is eternal. Cyndi. It's really temporary. Still feel like Cyndi. So, where does this conviction arise from? Isn't that fun? And again, now I have Sir Nisargadatta Maharaj's words. Guru told me what to do and I believed him, so I did it. Where does this conviction arise from and who is it for? And while Maya, and it was so interesting because when I wrote Maya on the page this morning, I'm sitting there going, I don't ever use that word. I use world, I use illusion, I use, separate self. And then, I was listening to Fran read this morning and I go, oh, yeah, it ties it all back into our reading, right? Because Mooji used, the illusory Maya, right? And while Maya continues to play out, dance the salsa, the Maya salsa, and draw attention as if it were real, what do I do? And how fun is it, right? And maybe you're feeling it too. Maya is playing out, attempting to pull attention back into this myopic point of view that says, this is my life, my story, my problems to solve. And I'm watching it happen. I'm watching it happen from out here. It requires the acceptance that I ain't the person who's being pulled into. This is where we get back to it being simple again. In every seeming moment, notice there is a choice, but there's just one choice. So if you see 100 different choices, know that you're in Maya. There's just one choice. Do I use this moment to strengthen the Cyndi separate belief? I believe that the world that I'm seeing out there is real and I'm a victim of it. And I need something. I need that world out there to change so that I could feel okay in here. And look at all those, excuse my language, but it's coming up. Look at all those assholes out there that don't know what they're doing to me. And if only they would change, we could all get on with awakening, right? I could use whatever's going on in this moment now to strengthen the I am separate storyline. Or choice number 2, door number 2. I can use it to rest from the story, to pause and inquire, for whom is this arising? What is it that is aware, yet unaffected by this moment? Just that question, right? Now I feel like, I know there's no difference between me and Shauna, but right now I'm sinking into Shauna's sacred inquiry, right? In this moment now, there's an experience happening. There's something that says what I am is not the people I'm looking at on my screen. Who sees that? Who believes that? And what is watching from a space of stillness, knowing that this moment only exists for a moment. It's a flow, it's an experience. And by the time the word comes out of Cyndi's mouth, it's gone. But there's something here that never changes. And no matter what's happening out there, can I use the Cyndi story and all the ways it's being affected by the present moment as nothing other than saying the Cyndi I separate thought is active right now. Yay! Because anyone that has spent any time here at Awakening Together knows that awareness alone can be curative. And if I can see it and rest from believing that I am it, or rest from believing that I have to fix it or solve it or identifies who I am as something separate from God, and I have to do something, if all I can do, if I can stand still and allow it to bubble up right here, right now, and say, something here that is unaffected. Then the Cyndi filtering system dissolves even more, right? Here's some more words, from a song I never heard before until Marisol played it before we started. In the real world. Wrote it down. I'm going to go back and perhaps contemplate all the words in that gorgeous song, right? But can it be as simple as stop paying attention to the things that make you tired? Like, if we have never left our source, if we are supreme consciousness, all love, all peace, all joy, infinity, then whatever gets tired, does that even make sense? Other than, in this moment, I'm believing a world, and I am the attention in this moment of the Cyndi story is being pulled into problem to solve. And that's exhausting, because somehow the Cyndi separate has this belief that she is not connected to her source, to the life flow, to the love. And that doesn't even make any sense. We are the love we seek. All blocks to love's presence are illusory, which is fun, There's a lot of Course in Miracles students here, right? And so as Course in Miracles students, we are told that we're not seeking love. We are allowing the blocks to love's presence to be healed in us. But what if they don't exist? What if all of it is just, look at me, I am separate salsa? The tango, the dance, right? They're illusory. They cannot possibly exist. There is only the one, and all is well. You, whatever you believe yourself to be, are safe. You, right here, right now, can let go. This life is easy in the here. Life is easy in the now, in the isness, in the Tao, in the Brahman. Right? Because there is a divine benevolent intelligence that didn't tell us why exactly. We had a belief that had Rhoda and I change places last week, and my entire world has changed in the last couple of days. What a great way for me to be in a new beginning. I didn't know that. when we made the changes. Everything about Cyndi's life is different than it was 3 days ago. I didn't know that was going to happen. Wrote it in, 6 weeks ago or whenever it was we made this change, that her life would be what it is right now. But there is a divine, benevolent intelligence that is taking care of us. And what if we simply choose to accept that? And I got chills because it was so fun, because I didn't know why the second song until the script got dropped in this morning's contemplation, but it is the perfect segue. And as Marisol plays our second song, I am reminded to state that we at Awakening Together are our church, and we, if it is on your heart to make a donation, there it is. There is a link, or you could use that little beautiful barcode on the screen that you can find in gallery mode. But all of that being said, Marisol, song number 2. Thank you. We have 7 minutes while the recording is still on for anything anybody would like to speak or share. There is another song, and we can play it. And here's the fun thing. I love this song. I'll give you the punchline. Because I sent it to a friend that I love, and he didn't understand the song. He was like, "Where did the love go? Why are you sending me a song where love disappears?" And I couldn't quite explain to him, though I do believe that I could explain to you by simply saying, a scale cannot weigh itself. So why don't we do Leonard Cohen, Marisol? Marisol, I surrender my love us all very much.
You've been watching our online gathering. It happens weekly on Sundays at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time. To join us live in the sanctuary, visit our website, awakening-together.org. You'll want to click on Online Sanctuary in the main menu, and then in the drop-down menu, look for How to Enter the Sanctuary. Right there at the top of the page is a clickable link. We'd love to see you in the sanctuary and join with you in fellowship. Thank you again for watching. Also, please know that if you'd like to stay connected via the Awakening Together channel here on YouTube, you can subscribe and hit the bell for more notifications. We hope to see you in the sanctuary.